I'm an African ecofeminist. I come from Zimbabwe, and I work on the intersections of African women's rights, climate justice, environmental justice, but I look at it from an African woman's perspective. The majority of women, of African women, their livelihoods are tied to the land. They are food producers. They interact with the whole food chain in terms of even processing the food, in terms of feeding families. And when we talk about climate-induced disasters that are happening across Africa, from Rwanda to Southern Africa, to Mozambique, to Madagascar, we are talking about the destruction of African women's livelihoods, the destruction of African women's lives, looking at how African women take care of people, they take care of the sick, they are caregivers, they contribute to the development of their communities, the development of their households. And then when climate-induced, when disasters strike, it is the African woman who is hurt most. And when we even talk about the issue of rebuilding the economies, the rural economies, rebuilding livelihoods, African women are at the center of the rehabilitation, the reconstruction. They are at the center, but the challenge is their labor is extremely invisible. It is not appreciated. It is taken for granted. And when we even look at how the GDPs are measured in Africa, the loss and damage to Africa is usually measured in terms of what percentage of the GDP. The African women's contributions are missing. And therefore, when we talk about a COP that is going to take place within the African soil, which is going to be in Africa, then we should look at these disproportionate impacts of climate change on African women, because African women are food producers, they are workers, they are peasants, and so this COP should actually speak to the needs and aspirations of the African women. And what we are demanding is not something that is out of this world. We are only demanding that let us recognize the role that African women are playing, and let us make sure that when we come up with adaptation policies, they speak to the needs of African women, because they are doing the work already. And let us have policies which are nature-based. When we talk about policies which are nature-based, they'll speak more to women as food producers. A lot of rural populations in Africa, they are largely women, and they are the ones who are carrying the burden of climate change. And therefore, why not center their voices? Why not center their needs? And why not center their aspirations? That's all what we're saying.
So your message to Africa as we are preparing to host this COP27?
As we are preparing to host this COP27, we are saying that Africa is devastated by climate change. And it is time that African people come together as a one people, that all African countries come together and speak with one voice. Because what we are facing in Africa is now an emergency. Because of climate change, African governments are carrying so much of the debt burden. And let us look at this also, that we are living a triple crisis. We are living the COVID-19 pandemic, which is on its own a crisis. We are living a climate crisis. We are also living a debt crisis. And therefore, climate finance should not be in the form of loans. It should be in the form of grants to Africa, and they are supposed to center Africa as a special needs and circumstances region because of our historical background. Africa is facing a lot of histories of colonialism, of the extractives, of the marginalization of African people, and therefore we need to center that.